How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether the price is going up or down. Over on Bitcoin for the daily, we did reject our red EMA level here, and we are starting to see a retracement, so I would exercise caution. Remember, we do have that gap on futures below us that we could end up filling. We're not going to cover futures and much of that, because remember, they just opened for the weekend. Stochastic does want round, our size pulling back. Our VWAP yellow wave is pushing down. Our momentum blue wave will reverse if that momentum continues to get bearish strength from that VWAP. Sorry, I can't get the words out. So as that VWAP weakens, momentum weakens. As that blue wave, our momentum weakens. Our money flow, the red wave, will continue to weaken as well. So that's kind of how those three work together in long and short. We have that on the Mastering the Trade series. Click that link. But remember, as that VWAP starts to come down, we could see some bearish momentum depending on if lower time frames are more bearish. So over on the 4 hour here, we did break that 300 EMA. That is critical. That's on our market cipher A. We haven't shown these in a while. We're using market cipher A and B here. Again, visit that link to get those set up. Our stochastic is selling off. RSI is pulling back. VWAP is favoring bearish. Money flow is pulling back. So I would watch as that VWAP continues to favor bearish. Momentum will continue to weaken, and money flow can go from green to red, causing a further sell-off. Over on the 2 hour, we are coming down to that 300 EMA. Again, exercise caution. If we break that EMA, we could see a further push down to that 57 area. That would be positive, though, because that is where our futures gap is. So if we can meet support there, we could still continue forward. Remember, we do have futures gaps to the upside, so that is positive. RSI is starting to pull back, stochastic is weakening, VWAP is pushing down, momentum is weakening, and that money flow does want to break bearish, so watch that VWAP close. If that VWAP continues to get lower lows and lower highs, momentum will continue to weaken, and money flow will continue to follow, and we will start to weaken. Over on the 1 hour, we are seeing a pretty strong reversal here. We did try to hold these EMA levels, and we did see a rejection, followed by a cross with a manipulation X. We tried to retest, and we got rejection. That could have been your cue that we may have a sell-off incoming. Our RSI is pulling back, stochastic is weakening, VWAP is favoring bearish, momentum is pushing down, and that money flow is bearish, so watch that VWAP. As that VWAP continues to favor bearish here, our money flow will continue to weaken, and if it holds bearish for several hours, we will see higher time frames start to weaken, which will cause a further push down if we are not careful. Over on graph for the daily, we are seeing a retest of our 14,316 like we said to watch for, so watch for a bounce here. VWAP is pulling back, momentum wants to round, money flow is bearish, stochastic is rounding away. We do have orange above blue, so we do have a bearish cross, causing our side to drop, and we are getting that rounding top, so watch for a confirmation with a red candle. If we see a red candle, we could push down to that 1157. Our momentum is pulling back here, RSI is selling off, stochastic is dropping. VWAP is favoring bearish with lower lows and lower highs here on the 4 hour, and money flow is pulling back. So watch that VWAP. If that VWAP continues to drop down, momentum could break bearish, and money flow could start to reverse, which would weaken the 4 hour and eventually daily. Over on the 2 hour, we did break that 300 EMA. Once we broke it, we did sell off pretty quick, so that could have been your warning. VWAP is favoring bearish, momentum is dropping, money flow is pulling back, stochastic is dropping, our RSI is starting to weaken because that stochastic is maintaining below 30. Remember, below 30 is bearish and causes RSI to drop, and RSI causes price to follow with that price action. So remember, as that RSI pulls back, usually price action will follow. Stochastic is overall getting lower highs, favoring bearish here on the 1 hour. That is causing that RSI to pull back, weakening it on those higher time frames, causing that sell-off. Again, on those EMAs, we saw those EMAs try to cross and hold, but we did see rejections. Those rejections with lower highs and lower lows could have been your cue that we could see bearish continuation like we warned about. Our VWAP is favoring bearish. I did not hit that link. Sorry, I've been trying to tell you to click that link, but I didn't give you the link. There it is. VWAP is favoring bearish, momentum is dropping, money flow is bearish, stochastic is overall dropping, so again, I would exercise caution. If that continues, our higher time frames will continue to weaken. Over on Ankr on the 1 day, we are overall rejecting away, rounding away, possibly making rounding top. Stochastic is dropping, RSI is falling, VWAP is pushing down, momentum does want to round, our money flow is bearish, so watch that VWAP. As that VWAP continues to drop, momentum will continue to round, and money flow will remain bearish. That could cause a further push down to that 2338 again, and that would give us a lower high, so watch for lower lows to that 2020 like we've been warning about. Over on the 4 hour, We did reject that 300 EMA. We broke that 250 EMA, so those could have been your cues. Remember, those are important areas to watch. RSI is pulling back. VWAP is favoring bearish with lower lows and lower highs. Money flow is starting to pull back as that momentum wants to break bearish, so watch that VWAP. If that VWAP continues to drop here, we will see further bearish momentum. Over on the 2 hour, we are trying to bounce off that 300 EMA. We need some bullish momentum here if we're going to continue further and try to break that 2673. However, if we end up breaking that EMA, I would watch for that push to that 2338, and then we need to hold support. We do have a gap just above that 2338 at 2377, so we could pull back there, fill that gap. We did fill our first gap. Gaps have an 80% likelihood to fill. Ankr loves its gaps, so if you want something to trade, there's a good thing to trade there, not financial advice. But VWAP is pulling back, momentum is dropping, money flow is overall weakening, stochastic is dropping, and RSI is pulling back. So overall, I would exercise some caution here. We do have gaps to the upside though, so even though we have those bearish gaps and we could end up breaking down, those gaps to the upside do mean we can revisit these areas. Gaps to the downside would be DCA points, gaps to the upside would be sell-off points. VWAP is overall favoring bearish, momentum is dropping, money flow is pulling back, stochastic is selling off, and RSI is pulling back. So overall, watch the 1 hour. We do have a long lower shadow candle, so if followed by a strong green candle, we could see a rounding bottom and push forward, but ideally, we would fill those lower gaps before filling our higher gaps to continue to push forward. Remember, if we fill lower gaps first, we can continue to push up. If we fill those higher gaps, it's less likely we could come back up. So you want those higher gaps to give you that upswing momentum. Over on XRP for the daily, we do have a lower high. We are trying to break that 57, so again, exercise caution. Stochastic is rounding, RSI is pulling back, VWAP is overall rounding, momentum does want to round, so watch that VWAP. If that VWAP breaks down, momentum could push down and money flow would continue to deepen in the red, and we would see a sell-off, a retest of the 300 EMA, and if we don't hold that 300 and that 54, we could revisit those lower areas like that 50, 52, 40, 45, and then our 38, 35. So over on the 4 hour, RSI is pulling back, momentum is dropping, VWAP is favoring bearish, stochastic is dropping, and money flow is starting to pull back. Overall, I would exercise caution as we are starting to break that 57 support area. We want to see us hold above our 300 EMAs on lower time frames if we're going to continue forward on higher time frames. Over on the 2 hour, RSI is pulling back, VWAP is favoring bearish, momentum is selling off, money flow is pulling back. Overall, I would exercise caution. That could continue to make us break down, but the 1 hour, we do have a long lower shadow candle, potentially a little mini gap here right between those two candles, so that could be some bullish momentum. Watch for that to fill. Again, trade with confirmation, don't trade because you have a feeling. RSI is pulling back, stochastic is dropping, VWAP is favoring bearish, momentum is dropping, and money flow does want to pull back, so watch that VWAP close. If that VWAP does not reverse, it's likely we will continue lower. Finally, on ALGO, unless you have any special requests here, we are seeing a potential rounding top here as well, rejecting that 1350 like we said to watch for. Momentum does have a red dot signaling that it does want to pull back as that VWAP is starting to break that neutral, so watch as that is causing money flow to remain red, which will continue to make price action drop. Stochastic is rounding away, we have orange above blue, RSI is pulling back, so overall I would exercise caution as we broke this 300 EMA on that 4 hour with a manipulation X. So we could see continued selling pressure that could break our EMA band and continue to drop us down. Remember, we do have like this 1185 zone that is our next consolidation zone below us, and then we have our 1032. We don't want to break that because that's around all-time lows. RSI is starting to push down, VWAP is favoring bearish, momentum is breaking as a result, and money flow is starting to go from green toward neutral. So watch for that VWAP to hold bearish. If it does, our money flow could break red. Over on the 2 hour, we are trying to break our 300 EMA. We do have a long lower shadow. Again, watch for a green candle. That green candle could push us further up. VWAP does want to get higher lows, so watch if we can break above neutral and hold. Momentum is selling off and money flow is breaking down. So if that VWAP does not break that neutral and hold, we will see money flow continue to sell off and we will continue seeing bearish pressure. Over on the 1 hour, we are trying to break our 300 EMA, so watch this very close. If we reject this area, we will continue that sell-off. However, if we can reclaim this area, we could make a strong bounce forward. VWAP is trying to get higher lows, so watch for higher highs. If we get higher highs, we will see momentum reverse as long as we can stay above that neutral. Stochastic is selling off, RSI is pulling back, and money flow is better. So overall, watch that VWAP. Thank you for watching tonight's episode. I hope you have a great night. I appreciate you.